Hey, there we go. Hey, folks. That's ringing the BAMF podcast. This is the latest in our ongoing occasional series of actual play sessions for Supers Revised. And today we're doing a character generation session for an ongoing campaign we're going to call Superhero Shorts. And with me today are Alice and Brandon. How you guys doing?
Great. How are you?
All right, all right. Brandon, are you talking?
Nope, Brandon, you're muted.
We can see you.
Yeah, we can see you. Brandon's muted at the moment. Still can't hear you, Brandon. Change your device.
So, Alice, can you set it up for the listeners what we'll be doing today?
Yep, so today I'm calling it Session 0. I'll be the GM, and we're just going to do a quick character generation session as well as getting setting and everything ready so that for Session 1 we can hit the ground running. I have some questions from my players, and I want to get an idea of what they're going to be playing. I will also give a quick recap of the primer for anyone who didn't get a chance to take a look at it. The link is also going to be found at the bottom of this video, so you can just go and click the primer that I sent all my players and go read it yourself.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Brandon, how's the audio doing?
Nope, Brandon's still not working. Well, while we wait for Brandon to get his audio ready, I just want to make a quick plug. We've been remiss at doing this, but please come join us on our Discords for the BAMF podcast Discord. It is discord.me/BAMF Discord. And for the Supers Discord, that is going to be discord.me/SupersRed. So.
It's where all the cool kids are. You are cool, right? You want to be there.
Yep, that.
All right, so the primer we have, we're calling this Earth 143.
Yep, Alpha 143 is what I'm calling it.
Earth Alpha 143, okay. And just in broad strokes, how is this different or similar to other comics universes?
Well, to put it, so the way that Walt decided to describe it is Marvel meets Tom Clancy. I have certainly superhero elements, classic superhero elements, and this classic four color, but I have mixed in some grit and some real world grays. And how I'm going to make this, I don't like running superhero games where my players just are thrown in and they're like just another one of the bunch. So in my world, there are 3 major superhero groups in the US. However, something has happened to all 3 of them in the past 4 years or so, and making them, fall from the limelight or have trouble and such like that, giving a moment for the PC to rise. For the West Coast, we have Bay Brigade, which was based out of San Francisco. They got implicated in a scandal because one of their members was implicated in an attack on the United Nations in 2014. In Chicago, we had Vigilance, where when the recent gene eye epidemic, it's a mutant drug, when that hit Chicago, it created the new Great Chicago Fire. And for some reason, Vigilance never responded. And since then, they've just been MIA. People are wondering what's going on. That happened in August 2018. And for the Millennium Sentinels, based out of New York, well, they were either parts of the group were acting as security. Members of them were acting as security for the big UN meeting. Other members ended up being first responders for the UN meeting that was bombed. So during the bombing, a large number of their team became casualties, and so they are also fallen out of the limelight. We have a couple major plot points in the world. We have sorry, just looking at my notes real quick. We have a mega crime organization that is currently called Black Sun. It's a super crime organization, I would say, similar to and akin to Hydra in many senses. For those who want parallels, there are certainly differences. Gene is a drug that hit the U.S. that is believed to allow the taker to activate dormant genes or dormant DNA that allow superpowers to show, but it is usually on a temporary basis. It's a very addictive drug. There are a lot of issues going on in the US because of it at the moment. LHES, latent hyperevolution syndrome, was discovered by Dr. Ivan Ishkar in the 80s, and it is believed to be the source of all superpowers according to the scientific community. However, that is actually very not true in the actual world, because lots of people with superpowers would not test positive on that, which can be an interesting thing, and you can hide from authorities when problems arise if you don't test positive. Another big note about the U.S. right now is that the United Nations, after they were massacred and bombed and such, the countries have all decided that they don't want to be in the U.S. anymore. So the UN is currently convening at The Hague until further arrangements are made for their new headquarters. And yeah, those are some quick bullet points. Hi, Walt.
I love bullet points.
Hey, Walt, how you doing?
Hola.
Brandon's troubleshooting his microphone at the moment. He'll be right back in.
I would have gone with full contact Scrabble or microwaved penguins, but troubleshooting, microphones work too.
So I know that Brandon last week in our little pick of the week thing was talking about a few of his concepts. I wanted to get an idea of what you guys were interested in playing.
Well, let me hear what Walt's got first.
Sure.
Before I commit.
I'm thinking of a cross between Constantine and Green Arrow.
Ooh, okay.
So a kind of like a failed Olympic archer, but the reason he failed is because some sort of is there magic in the setting? Is that cool?
Yes. Yeah, right. There's definitely magic in all my settings. I'm a magic person.
So I was thinking like right on the eve of some big archery event, he falls into his magical birthright, which he knew nothing about, and then it just ruins his career. And so he's instead of being this athletic, Oliver Queen, Arsenal type guy, he's let himself go. He's totally wearing the wrong clothing for it, but he can use his mysticism to augment his archery.
Cool.
Okay, cool. And what was Brandon's concept?
Brandon has about 15 concepts, so we need to wait for him. He can pitch whichever one works.
Okay. Well, if Walt's going with magic, I might go with magic too. Did we have any parameters around the tone of the campaign or the feel we're going for?
Beyond what I linked, but beyond what I sent, I would say that's kind of an open question. I'm not looking at anything too dark. I hope that my primer gave a decent idea of the tone I'm going for. It's certainly a troubled world at the moment. There's plenty of bad stuff. As for the tone, also, I do have a few questions for you guys that will set a few parameters. First one is, well, by the way, we're going to be doing 25 dice. I want to know where you guys want to be based, because if you guys are going to be based in New York or Chicago or LA, or if you want to be a group that basically, somebody came from New York, but somebody came from a different, depending on where you're from, the story will be different, obviously. I also want to know where you guys want your base to be, if you want to be an existing team that's already going in, or if I should plan on introducing everyone to each other and make you guys superhero fight, the comic book superhero fight before you guys group up. And yeah, so what I'm waiting on Brandon to get here because I do also want to hear what you guys feel that a proper superhero team needs, that what all the roles will be for filling.
Mike, did you want to do someplace big and epic in scope like New York or San Francisco, or did you want to do like Great Lakes Avengers style and put it someplace like Milwaukee or Sheboygan?
Well, I don't want to do that to Alice. It's going to be hard to run a game in Sheboygan. Something nefarious is afoot at the local bowling alley. I don't want to make her do that. So I don't know. You want to do something in the Eastern Seaboard, and we could do Philadelphia if we want to go for the non-obvious choice. So there's always New York is. Seem to all be in Manhattan.
Both Philly and Boston have great food, so I'm in either one.
And they're close to New York, so some of that spillover can certainly happen there.
And of course, if we had to go to New York, we could always do like road trip adventure because we're not going to be able to just all fly there. So
yep, exactly.
we'll have to Uber.
I'm afraid to set it in Boston because I'm going to be tempted to do that accent and call everything a wicked pisser.
Just remember, it's wicked pissa.
Wicked piss. Yeah, I maybe that's not a bad thing. I don't know.
Well, we can always do Philly then. And whenever you have a question, whenever you feel like you can't talk, you can just say that you've got a Philly cheesesteak stuck in your mouth.
Normal bartender by day, possessed by the heroic spirit of Samuel Adams by night. In Beantown. Okay. Shoot. So you're going to be Constantine. So if we're going for a magic themed team, because that could be fun.
I don't believe Brandon's going to be magic themed, okay, based on what I know.
Oh, he could be the odd man out. We're always talking about magic stuff. Oh.
And I have no idea what Nick is going to be at the moment. He and I are going to talk in private before next session.
Yeah, he's currently working the booth for Apogee Comics.
Yep.
He's got it all set up, and they also had a new addition to the family last night.
Is that the deer?
The deer, yeah. That was 2 nights ago, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's using that to bribe me with cuteness so that I don't remember that he's missing today.
So, Mike, what are we thinking, Philly?
Yeah, sure, let's do Philly. That's a horrible city, right?
I make no claims as I pass through there regularly.
Okay, all right. Yeah, don't put yourself in trouble. Right.
Okay, so Philly, let me write that down. Do you guys want to be an existing team? Or do you guys want to be a team that I put you guys together, find a common bond?
It seems like if we're an existing team, we can skip a lot of the preliminary "who are you? Let's fight" kind of stuff. But
sure.
if you want to do that, we can do that. Walt, let me know what you think.
Nah, existing team is fine.
Okay.
Especially for short game sessions, I think existing team is going to be easier.
Dysfunctional family.
Yeah. And I just want you to keep in mind that the rock, paper, scissors thing, and figure out what roles you guys feel need to be filled in the team. And then after that, I'm hoping Brandon gets back soon because I don't want him to miss all this. And I want him to be able to pitch, hey, Brandon's back. Brandon, can you hear us? And can we hear you?
Hello.
Hey, it's working. So
reboot.
Awesome. So Brandon, we went over the bullet points of my primer.
I heard from the other room.
Okay. We were talking about a few questions I had for you guys, which is where do you guys want to be based? Mike and Walt were talking about Philly as an option. Philadelphia.
The moon.
And they voted for it to be an existing team already.
I think that's easier for shorts.
That's what I agree with. And then I want to keep you guys with you. I want you guys to keep in mind what roles need to be filled in the team, and the two of them already were talking about the characters that we're going to bring a little bit. Walt, can you go over that real quick with Brandon?
Yes. First of all, hello, welcome.
Greetings.
Yeah, I was thinking earlier about kind of like a Constantine meets Oliver Queen type character. So a failed archer who failed because he discovered he had some magical ties to some past stuff. So that manifested, and now he just has to live with it. So yeah, I'll be playing Constant Queen.
Constant Queen.
Okay. Brandon, what's your concept?
I have several that I can go with. So
we heard 15. Can you confirm?
I'm certain I could bring out 15 different concepts for characters without a problem.
And please tell me each one comes with their own specific, fully copyrighted Brandon voice. That would be absolutely hysterical.
Also, and I was super sad that my mic didn't work because I don't know if you guys know this, but it's Hulk's birthday today.
Yay!
So back in 1962, the Incredible Hulk smashed his way into the world.
Woohoo!
And has gone through several iterations. Do you have a favorite Hulk iteration?
I actually really enjoyed the Hulk in Endgame, but I wish that we had gotten a Hulk movie for that Hulk rather than just kind of that happened in another movie, where we don't get to focus on the Hulk.
I gotta tell you, my original favorite Hulk was like the old, like mindless monster by day, brilliant scientist. No, flip that. Mindless monster by night.
I liked the way that we were going.
brilliant scientist by day. But I have to say that now that I've read like pretty much every Weapon X and Weapon H thing he's been in, Amadeus Cho is amazing as the Hulk. Amazing. He's so much fun.
I haven't read any of the Amadeus Cho stuff at all since, like I always say, I'm behind on comics by over a decade. But I believe Amadeus Cho showed up in one of the cartoons, and I thought the character was pretty entertaining there.
I really like the Amadeus Cho in the cartoon. He did show up in there.
Plus, it's an Asian superhero, and we don't get to see that all that often.
He's an Asian hacker tech geek
who is now the Hulk, which is brilliant. I mean, he's just so good as the Hulk.
Awesome.
Because I mean, he's always so reserved. So there's that nice blend of brawn tempered by brains, which is really nice until he flips out and loses his hulky bits and gets all Hulk smash. And then he always spends the next 2 pages apologizing. It's really good.
Cool. I'll have to go and catch up a bit. So back to game, though. Brandon, why don't you pitch us a couple concepts you have?
All right.
That didn't set the tone.
Oh, and are you okay with Philadelphia?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Why not the city of brotherly love?
And the moon.
That's my vote, is Moonbase. So one of them, which I was looking at, it sounds like Walt might be kind of covering in that area, and it was the Archer character, just because on a super team, it's always awesome to have the person who doesn't have powers and is kind of getting along and struggling to keep up with everybody. And one thing I wonder, I thought about this and asked Alice this like last week or something. How come Green Arrow gets all this crud for, he's just an archer, but Batman doesn't get any crud for being just a guy in a suit?
Because his superpower is he's rich.
Well, that is the best superpower, by all means.
That is.
I think it depends which universe you're in. In the TV show, Oliver Queen is kind of a stone cold badass.
Oh, God, yeah.
No one gives a shit. In the comics, he kind of goes through cycles. When Judd Winnick was writing him, he had Oliver go through a training montage where he became a swordsman and a better martial artist, kind of in response to that sort of thing. So, like when the way they've been writing Aquaman for the last 5 or 10 years, where they make a point to show you, how he's a great fighter and etc. In a lot of ways, in modern day Robin Hood, it's kind of a goofy concept, right? And so I think I think some of that's sort of built into the character because Why wouldn't you just be like Frank Castle if you want to go out and fight crime with a projectile weapon?
Yeah, I think that it's actually interesting because the TV show, I feel, is a departure from a lot of who Green Arrow and Oliver Queen is in the comic books a lot of times.
Oh
So
yeah, it's
it's
very,
a
very
pretty
different.
big departure on the character and a kind of weird.
But I was figuring that character was probably, if Walt's looking at the failed archer, that might be one that I should skip on. The next one that's just on my list is the drug sniffing dog that got powers in a Ace Chemicals factory kind of accident with a massive load of GNI. He freebased the whole thing. And so now he has superpowers and is just a load of kick-ass. With that same, and this is inspired by Walt due to the Belgian Malinois, and I was thinking about that.
Yep, he was just showing Balder.
Yep. Had to tire him out. He decided to try and eat a Grand Pyrenees on the way home. Well, we stopped. We can't have all that fur in his teeth. It's impossible to get out.
Another one. Alice talked about the incident at the UN, and I was kind of thinking with bombs going off at the UN and like a massive body count, somebody that kind of got infused with the spirits that went out at that point, and so is a ghost channeler character. And the last one that's kind of at the top of my list, though I could, like I say, go on for probably about 14 more, is actually a time-displaced daughter of a friend of ours character who is basically a lucky cop.
Okay, cool.
Your turn, Mike. No
all
pressure.
Right. So let's talk about the concept of paper, rock, scissors in superhero.
Okay.
And who do we have? I mean, what roles are we filling so far?
Well, it sounds like we have a mystic. Mm-hmm. I don't really know which of the characters Brandon's doing, but we know Walt's a mystic. So, we know we could use a brick, and you can probably use, some mobility in the group, figure out what you guys feel you guys need.
Well, with Walt being a mystic, why don't I look at Superdog?
Okay, Superdog. So what kind of powers is Superdog going to have exactly?
Superman, but Superdog.
Okay, cool. So you want to be the brick. We're going to have a brick dog.
That's right.
Are you bipedal?
Nope.
Okay.
Still a full dog. Talk? Yes, I do. And I'm definitely planning on taking a 2-die social complication because dogs don't get no respect.
Brandon, you should be named Brick because then that way your doghouse will be named Brick House.
No, I'm Ragnarok, actually.
But Brick House! Okay.
Oh my god, this is already fantastic.
Okay, Mike, so...
All right, so we got a brick, we got range damage. Oh, wait, no, hang on. Well, Walt is a mystic, and he's a range damage because he's an archer who's also a mystic, so...
Yes, but there's no guarantee that I'm any good at this.
You were an Olympic-level archer.
I was an Olympic-level archer. You know what a potbelly does to that kind of form? String gets in the way. It's something.
All right. So what other roles do we need to have on a team? We've got a mystic, range damage, a brick. Do we need an investigator? What else do you think we need, Alice?
I think that you guys should discuss that amongst the party. I'm the GM, and I will need to, work around what you guys feel you guys need.
I have no idea how far my dice are going to go, but by all means, as a drug sniffing dog in the past, I am definitely going to be looking at having some sort of investigation.
That makes sense, yeah.
And you guys do have Nick as well, but we'll figure out what he's playing.
He's probably going to play a hot girl on a motorcycle. Is my takeaway from what I've seen from Nick so far.
Either that or one of the various characters from the Apogee universe.
Apogee.
Yes. Which today he is pimping.
Well, shoot. Maybe I could do something mystic, but centered around Philadelphia. What sort of weird occult stuff is there in Philadelphia? There's the Mutter Museum.
Rocky.
Rocky is that's true. Oh wow, there's an exhibit called the Soap Woman at the Mutter Museum, and that's really really disgusting. Okay.
There are so many "let me clean your mouth out" jokes that could be made with that.
Yes, yes. Oh god, you don't want to search for Mutter Museum on Google Images. That's Oh god, this is really awful. I have to stop this right now. Sorry.
No problem.
There were a series of Rosicrucian German monks who moved to Philadelphia back in the day when it was, pre-war for independence. That might be kind of a deep cut. I don't know. Apparently, they lived out in the woods and caves and stuff. Shoot.
Are you looking for funny? Are you looking for serious?
Oh, I mean, any character I get, I'll probably get a shtick and just run it into the ground.
You gonna knock somebody's block off?
Oh wow, that's a deep cut, Brandon.
Like I said, I'm watching the old episodes. I laughed.
That was oh my god, that was when Eminem Third Ed came out. That was like years ago. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching that.
By the way, guys,
yeah.
quick note: character histories matter to me, so please submit a character history to me so that I can work with stuff into the into stories that I'm working on for you guys.
Right on.
I love character histories.
Well, I'm looking at this name generator right now, trying to get inspiration. I currently have Psionic Trooper. I'm not sure if I can work with that.
Well, Mike, you read the primer, right?
I did, yeah.
Was there anything in it that grabbed you that's going on?
It kind of reminded me of the City of Heroes backstory, but I've been playing that lately, so that's probably why.
Okay.
I mean, completely illegally, but it's back up and online. So, let me think. Oh, hey, next name generator was Poly Eagle. Could go a few different ways. Ways we don't want to go. Okay, I don't want to take up the whole session with me talking about this. How about we got a brick, we got a mystic.
Yep, you got the two far ends.
Let's see. It is a water-based city.
Ooh. All sorts of watery powers. Get some Aquaman meets
Philly.
Oh, or Aquaman eats Philly.
Well,
yeah.
Aquaman comes for land food.
Philly also has, a long history of inequalities. I will put it that way, to be as PC as I can. So, there's a lot of, downtrodden things that you can take from the history of Philadelphia to create a superhero round.
I could play. Well, hey, why don't we go ahead and start generating Walt's character and Brandon's character, and I'll try to think of something instead of stealing all the spotlight just to go and ha.
Okay. Sure.
We should go alphabetical order by height. That would be Brandon.
Brandon is the tallest at 6'2", and his first name starts with Brandon. B, I mean. So B, Brandon, you're first.
Is he frozen?
I'm wondering.
I didn't do it. It's totally not my fault. I blame the dog.
I think Brandon's frozen. Brandon, if you can hear me from the next room calling out. Yeah, Brandon's frozen. He's calling out hello. So it sounds like Walt, you're up first.
Excellent. All right. Let's see. So I'm starting with a name. Like I said, this guy, I'm picturing like a rising star who had everything ready to go, had spent his entire life around handling a bow and arrow, and then some incident happened, and he just now everything's not working the way it should. So for an original name, he's going to go with something so primal and basic and so awe-inspiring, Archer X, because totally generic.
Okay.
Composure, I would figure he's going to need some level of composure dealing with mysticism. Brandon's back.
Brandon's back.
It helps to plug your computer in.
We don't judge. I'm thinking for composure, not super. Like I said, he's failed at a lot, and that's probably part of his shtick. So, I'm thinking like 2D. Fortitude, not super athletic, but not super sucky either. I'm thinking around 3D. That way, he has some level of athleticism left. Reaction, just to go with the Archer theme, at 4D, and then will. Once again, not super high, because he does have to deal with probably magical entities or something like that at some point, but he really sucks at his job. So I'm thinking 2D as far as for the main resistances. Brandon, did you want to set yours up next?
Not knowing how deep in the well the powers and abilities are going, I had 2 composure, 3 fort, 3 reflex, and 3 will.
Okay.
And just, the composure the dog is not the best at, and I've contemplated putting it just at the 1.
Squirrel.
That is also going to be part of it, that, despite being an intelligent dog, that, still does enjoy the dog things, because what's the point of playing the dog if you're not going to go out and dig a hole?
Dog want a squeaky toy? Squeaky toy.
I am. See, and this plays into the fact that I don't get no respect as a dog talking to people, and they're like, I'm like, yes, I want the stick, but I'm trying to tell you something. Where are you going to throw the stick?
Do I need to get you in and send to your house in real life one of the Pug Life harnesses that has the monogrammed Ragnarok on it?
Oh dear.
That would be awesome. You could hang it from the ceiling fan.
You know what Alice and I do in the bedroom is none of your business, Walt.
That took a weird turn. And Mike, what are you thinking for?
Well, Philadelphia has harsh winters, right?
Yes.
Okay. How about I am a superhero called Mad Chloride, who works for the city trying to keep the streets clean.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Cool.
And he might be a robot invented by a mad scientist city employee or not. I'm not sure about that.
I really get the impression Mike likes robots.
I get that impression too.
All right, so let's not play a robot then.
No,
I'm not knocking it. I'm not
nothing wrong
knocking
with
it.
being a robot.
Huh? So I would need fire control and ice control powers, and probably either flight or super speed.
Cool. Super speed or flight. Awesome. And nothing wrong with being a robot. Lots of story there.
Mm-hmm.
In case you guys didn't notice, if I GM or if when Brandon GMs or when I GM, story's a big part. We don't do superhero games just for people to show up and punch.
That's fantastic.
But
Because I doubt any of us are good at punching anyway. Although, with the proper muzzle, you do have the boop snoot, Brandon.
So instead of the flick, it's the nose tap.
Oh my God, there are so many mornings when I walk in the door and I get belted right in the jimmy. Oh, dropped right to my knees.
I used to have a Great Dane, sweetest dog.
Oh my God.
Back in high school and such. And the thing is, when I'd bring friends over, she'd get so excited and she'd start spinning around. Her tail was not docked. This actually gave her a lot of problems over the years. But that meant that it was at the perfect height to smack somebody as she's spinning around. And so she dropped more than one of us on the ground. And then she was like, oh, you're on the ground. Let's play. Let me love you and kiss you because you're here.
And send some Great Dane, pick you up and carry you up the stairs.
Yes. Unfortunately for her, docking a Great Dane's tail is really good because they have a lot of force. So she literally whacked her tail off and then continued to wag the tail. And so there was blood just spraying all over the kitchen and such. And it took a long time for that to actually heal.
Damn.
Yeah. So docking a Great Dane's tail is not a bad idea. I don't like docking most dogs' tails, but
Wow.
Ouch.
That's a hell of a story.
Yeah. So Mike's gonna be a robot made by a mad scientist. Got it.
is there another kind of scientist?
Lazy.
Disgruntled?
Excuse me while I get the sinister GM eyes for a moment.
So, Brandon, where are you going to take your aptitudes, do you figure? Because just remember, in supers, if you need to craft an aptitude, you absolutely can. And I don't know about butt licking or couch licking, but I mean, licking in general could be, and then you could specialize in one or the other.
Yes. I have my list of athleticism, fighting, intrusion, investigation, presence, streetwise, and survival. And so I know that I'm gonna need to cut that down. So I'm trying to weed out the points. What is the points that we are using here? Are we at
25.
25. So we're supposed to be pretty Avengery types.
Yeah, I was thinking about restricting 5 of those points to requiring it to be in aptitudes because supers is a little intensive when you want to be skill heavy, and having skills is important in a game that you're not just going to go punchy, fighty all the time. So I was thinking about restricting that at least 5 of those has to go into aptitudes, and therefore you have some skills beyond just punchy, fighty.
That is going to be the new term for aptitudes. That'll be punchy, fighty. I like that one better. Mike, what are you thinking on skills for our Mr. Clean robot? And will your robot be bald?
I can't decide if it's going to be like an android who has human-like features like vision, or more of a full-on robot like Red Tornado.
C-3PO.
C-3PO. He's R2-D2. He just beeps. He and the dog don't get along because
You look like a fire hydrant to me.
You're even painted red?
maybe that would help us get along better. I don't know. Maybe I would like that. I don't know.
Oh dear.
Is it that kind of game? Maybe it's not that kind of game.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
All right. So
As Alice is like her game's sinking down the drain.
all right. So I'm looking at aptitudes, but you said skills. Where do I find that on the character generation?
That is aptitudes.
That is aptitudes.
Okay.
Having skills like, and so that's why I'm talking about, so what do you guys think of saying that restricting in a 25-point character that at least 5 points have to go into aptitudes, because that way you're saying people need to have skills beyond just the, combative stuff.
It makes sense. And if I work for the city doing street maintenance and street cleaning, I'm probably going to have aptitudes in vehicles, technology, and streetwise, just off the top. Possibly also shooting, since I'm guessing I shoot fire and ice out of my hands. So
Cool.
Right
maybe animal handling, since I'm on a super team with a dog.
Mhm. Yep.
I might just have a pouch full of treats. I don't know.
Squeaky toy.
Yeah, make sure you get the right kind of treats too, because some work better than others.
Yeah. Fragrant and juicy.
Yep.
Fragrant and juicy.
Just do whatever you want to with that one, Walt. It's all right. That was low and slow over the plate.
Yep. I'm just gonna roll with it at this point.
Okay. So that's the aptitudes I've got. I'm guessing I'd probably be expert level in vehicles and streetwise, since those are the 2 things I work with most of the time.
Please tell me you have a super vehicle or that you can transform into one.
Well, I'd have to change a lot of mass to be able to turn into a snowplow, right? But if I was a giant
Tiny but mighty.
if I was a giant robot, right, I could turn into a snowplow. Is that really 25 dice, though? It seems like more than 25 dice.
That might get a little expensive for you, unless you want to do the multiform, the transform, and then you get, the alternate pool and such like that. So spend a couple dice, get an alternative pool.
That sounds very complicated.
build from the ground up. It's not that complicated. You spend a couple dice, so you get your first one gets you, was it 5 or 10? I forget, Walt.
5.
5. Okay. And then after that, so you just spend, for each point you're spending, you're getting 5 points to build a character from the ground up. And so if you spend 5 points, that's a 25-point character that you just build a separate character sheet for. Pretty simple.
I believe there is a advisement on not having them be at the same power level.
Yeah, you should be lower. I will not let you be, at 25 to 25, but that was an example. But you make a 15-point character that's a vehicle, and as a separate character sheet, and you say, I'm transforming into this.
Well, I tell you what, instead of doing that, why don't I just have a super vehicle as one of my powers, and
Sure.
A snowplow.
Snowplow.
City of Philadelphia.
A jet-powered snowplow.
Oh my God, yes.
Random snowplow trivia. When Seattle got snowed in this year, they have no snowplows there. And there was a guy who was in from Idaho who had the snowplow stuff in the back of his truck. And so he apparently made like $36,000 in 4 days because he just put up on Craigslist that he would bring a snowplow around for, whatever the amount. And he just worked like a dog for 4 days. And
I see what you did there. Because you're a dog character.
So.
Turbo-powered snowplow.
Yep. With rocket fuel. Do you plug into your snowplow? Or is it like do you jack into it, and so it's like part of you when you're in it, and you could you're a super getaway driver because of it?
I suppose it could. Sure, there could be a docking station.
Cool. Sounds like there's lots of potential for fun, guys. So I do have one other question, with you guys having some idea of what you guys are going to be playing. What are some types of storylines that you guys would like to see explored right away?
Chasing the ball.
Chasing the ball. I am actually going to write that down because I know Brandon's actually serious. Okay.
As a drug overdosed dog, of course I want stories about drugs. More drugs. Need more drugs.
Okay.
You got to punish the people who are drugs users and such.
Also, the attack on the UN.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely like tying back. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with you. Since we're East Coast based, that makes sense.
Okay.
And tying back into like the overarching story for the setting.
And with a mystic character, Philadelphia was our nation's capital, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
At one point.
And so that seems like a cool bit of history by all means that I'm certain the mystic can tie into it. Some, have some story.
Brandon just wants me to bring the cracked Liberty Bell into this.
I'm super tempted to have played somebody Lexa related. Actually, the Time Displaced Cop's daughter had a tie to Lexa. You won't find that out until I actually play the character, though.
well, maybe your super dog was Lexa's dog in another universe. Who knows?
Actually, it was the capital until 1800 when it was moved to DC.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
So yeah, that's interesting. Maybe Walt's character can talk to founding fathers.
Ooh, that's fun.
Like drunken Benjamin Franklin just comes and talks to him sometimes at 2 a.m.
Oh, have you ever seen Sleepy Hollow?
I saw the first couple episodes of that.
And they're talking to Benjamin Franklin as he's flying the kite, and he's constantly naked because he's always drunk.
I watched the whole series, and yes, I remember that. There were some interesting bits about that.
That would explain a lot as to why I am a failed archer. Seeing that all the time as you're trying to shoot.
Well, maybe you've got a magic mason ring from your grandfather that connects you to all the masons who were the founding fathers.
Ooh, that's fun. We're writing that down.
Oh, I have a small cat emergency. I'll be right back.
Small
Cat
cat emergency. I guess that's better than having a large cat emergency. We know there's not a tiger on the loose for it.
They're just nature's miracle. Hang on, I'll be back.
Oh,
All right,
my God.
are we taking bets on exactly what is going on?
I'm thinking it's something where the cat is fighting with the dog
Oh,
Ooh.
because he's got a rescue greyhound. And from what I understand, he tires himself out in the morning and then he tires himself out again in the evening. But in between then, who knows? And if the cat doesn't get along with the dog, that would kind of be hysterical. I mean, it's kind of like a cat messing with like a flat paper rendition of a dog because they're just so narrow.
we had an Airedale Terrier and a cat, and the cat would go. We had because of some construction, we had this big mound of dirt, and the cat would go and just kind of wag its tail as it walked back and forth on this mound of dirt, waiting for the dog to come and chase it. And they would play and play, and then some nights Sassy would bring the cat in her mouth after having caught her, and we're having dinner, and just outside the glass window, Sassy would show us that she has the cat in her mouth, put her paw on the cat's stomach, and just gently tug on the cat's head. Sometimes we would just kind of find the cat and her fur in the back would be all matted from Sassy's saliva and such. They had an interesting relationship.
When you say had, does that mean that the cat's head came off at some point?
No,
Unfortunately, the cat got into a thrown-away Tylenol bottle, we believe, and cats are allergic to that.
Oh.
So she spent a number of nights in urgent care and such, and it was just that there was no end in sight. There was no sign of recovery for her, so she ended up just kind of going because it was going to be going one way or the other.
Right on. That sucks.
And that's how we found out the cats are allergic to Tylenol.
Yeah, we have all the animal facts in my house because my wife is a veterinary nurse, so she constantly comes back with all sorts of interesting tidbits, and I have sorts of great pictures too, like and stories like, "Hey, you want to see something cool? Put on this metal glove and stick your hand in this cage." I'm like, "What? Are you mind? No."
Well, you get a metal glove. I mean, she was at least trying to keep protection. Remember, kids, use protection.
So I have a question from a viewer / Nick, who wants to know. So if we currently have a brick, which is like a tank, he's asking, and a mystic and an elemental blaster, what other classes are there? I explained it's more archetypes, but he's like, sure. What archetypes are there other than those three? So I'm going to send it off to this panel here so they can answer.
Luckily, Supers has done a lot to take all of the guesswork out of that. And if you go to, I believe it's page 90. No, it's
97.
Not 97. There we go. Yeah. If you go onto there, hey, look at that excellent John Gibbons cover that is only trotted out for special events.
Oh.
Yeah, how come? Is that why there's the new cover on it? I really dug it, by the way.
So we only release that cover when we're doing charity work. All the benefits for that cover will always go to charity.
Awesome.
Go ahead, please.
We love the quality of the one you sent us. By the way, it is so much better than the ones we had before.
Yeah, that's the premium paper. But yeah, John was really cool with us during the creation of Supers Revised, and he graciously did that cover with a bunch of the backers. And the first charity thing we did was with Paws and Stripes. It's a organization that teams service dogs with personnel who former personnel who have like traumatic brain injury or PTSD, seizures, stuff like that. And throughout the years since Super Revised has come about, every once in a while we try to cover out to support one charity or another. So yeah, that cover will only ever be released when we're supporting a charity or hosts of the show need a book.
Well,
I am a charity case, Walt.
That's awesome.
But we have the animal avatar, the battle suit, Tony Stark-esque, one each. The blaster, we kind of got that covered. The brick,
Yep.
we got covered.
Yep.
The construct, which is also covered by the
Covered.
blaster.
Yep.
We don't really have a Capes Crusader crime fighter type.
Actually, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, mate, we do. The only thing is, he probably runs around on all fours.
Yep.
We have the.
He is McGruff the crime dog.
Ragnarok, the crime dog.
I love the voice already. We have the What's that, Mike?
Page are you on? Where are all these archetypes at? What page are you on?
Page 97.
97. Okay. Sorry.
Yep. We have
Quick
the.
note.
Yeah, go ahead,
Yep.
please.
Quick note: we have a remote player character generating with you guys through text with me. So he is looking. So Nick is like. Nick is looking at playing a speedster with a twist, but based on his description to me, it sounds like basically a time manipulator. He is not a speedster in himself, but he emits fields that generate and manipulate other people's speeds, and therefore I think that's more of a time manipulator than a speedster.
That's fantastic. Damn, he sounds like he should write comic books or something. Does he have a name for this time manipulating speedster? And we wait for the time dilation.
Yep, I am.
Excellent radio.
I'm asking him right now. So,
Mike, what does your robot look like?
I have no idea just yet. I'm still kind of trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out if he would be more of an energy controller or a blaster or a construct in terms of.
Based on the description you've given us so far, I described you to Nick as the blaster. The energy, it's an energy. I said we have a mystic, a brick, and an elemental blaster because you have elemental damage is what you go with.
All right, let's go with that then. That works. What would he look like? So he's an ice and fire blaster. I don't think I have any art like that lying around anywhere.
I'm certain you can talk Nick into drawing something for you.
I'm sure. He might be too busy with his tame deer these days. I don't know.
Oh my god. And if we need cartoon references for any type of Belgian Shepherd,
there you go.
His Royal Highness is out cold. I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, with a toy in his mouth.
Yep. He was like, "I'm so excited. We're gonna be on the book," and he was out.
It must have been a long walk.
Oh my god! So yeah, when I say walk, I don't really mean walk because it's never a walk. It's usually half jog, half walk around the neighborhood, come back, followed by drills and skills type stuff in the backyard.
Oh,
so
cool.
Yeah, because he has way too much energy to just go for a walk.
Is he one of those that will, that when you're doing push-ups, will start doing push-ups with you?
On your back, yes.
You should get into a TRX with that and film it.
Oh my god, it would be amazing. He'd pull it off too. I mean, but if you've ever seen one of these dogs operate, it's left, right, up, down, sit, stay. Wait, back up. And, it's that kind of rhythm, and then 20 or 30 commands later, you give him a toy or a treat and praise. And he just, once the treat or toy has been dealt with, he looks at you and goes, okay, more. And that's 3 or 4 times a day or more. So it's like a German Shepherd on crack.
And Walt knows what TRX is.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Yes, actually invented by a Navy SEAL out in the middle of Afghanistan.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, neat
it's
stuff.
Very useful for all sorts of people, including people with disabilities.
Oh, yeah, they're fantastic.
So, Walt, I've got a question for you here. System question.
A what?
A system question.
I hope I have an answer for this.
So I know how athletics works with super speed. But with super running, I don't see any interaction. Is that correct?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
However, there is a cool thing for there's that cool paragraph for the super speed versus super running that's in there somewhere. I don't remember the exact page offhand.
It talks about, like, can you just run fast? Like, do you have bionic legs, or are you Bucky with a bionic arm?
Running on your one bionic arm,
as bionic arms are wont to do.
Nick's character's name is going to be Mud. So I asked him, so they're going to get mired in mud?
I'm picturing Star Trek now. The original series.
MUDD, by the way. So I asked if, that means, because if he's going to slow everyone down with that and field mission, I'm like, so everyone gets mired in mud.
That's amazing.
Is Nick drinking right now?
I hope not. He's working his booth. He sent me a picture of the booth. You
never know what's in that coffee.
He says, yep, the citizens think he's moving really fast, so they find it funny that he calls himself Mud. Says everyone around him is just slow down.
Excellent. So, Mike, do we have a super vehicle type, the rocket powered snowplow?
Rocket powered snowplow. Yeah, that was. Should I be writing this down, or are you guys writing this down?
I wasn't writing any of this down. I was expecting people to send me their character sheets.
Luckily, it's all being recorded for posterity.
Yes, it is.
I would so love to see that this massive, awesome robot get into a Mini Cooper with a snowplow on it and a rocket.
Maybe his head just detaches and plugs in. I don't know. He just folds into the trunk and plugs in. I don't know.
Oh my God, that's even better. Or like a Yugo.
A Yugo. Oh, what if it's a weird Russian car and his maker was an immigrant scientist, and it's like a Trabante or something.
So ex-KGB experimental scientist guy.
Yeah, from one of those Siberian science cities.
Will you be doing a Russian accent? An appropriate robot Russian accent?
Yes. Brandon and I for the win.
Does it have to be a robot Russian accent? It can just be a robot accent.
You're very good at doing robot accents as soon as you manipulate your mic, I'm certain.
Well, yeah. I buy some software to do that too. Okay, so let me see if I can find some art. And actually, let me start writing up that character sheet.
Sure.
I'll use.
By the way, guys.
Oh, go ahead.
Brandon and I will not be in town next week on Friday. It's one of the rare days we have to tell you guys we're actually not available for podcasts, but I would be available to run this game the week after, the Friday after.
Groovy.
So, cool.
Okay. So I've got athleticism, awareness, fighting. I'm going to switch out awareness and athleticism for streetwise and vehicles, okay?
Okay.
And I'll put it alphabetical later. And for any listeners, I'm in Supers Revised on page 98, working with the blaster archetype. So streetwise and vehicles.
And that's something nice about Supers is that, if you're really stuck on how to build an archetype and you want to take an archetype, there's a lot of help in it.
Now, if I want to have this guy be a robot, could that just be like a disadvantage? And we could keep all the powers the same with the armor and whatnot?
There is actually a robot.
It's an advantage. It's
unliving.
Unliving.
It's an advantage.
Unliving?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll just put in brackets robot.
Because Alex and I have accidentally rolled up robot, so I know that there is actually an advantage for it instead of it.
Walt later played one of the robots inspired from that, Manuel Labor.
And Brandon played the one of the characters as well, the one that could only speak in catchphrases.
That's amazing.
That was a fun session. Too bad that wasn't recorded. I think Brandon would have a ton of fans if people saw that.
I think most of the
Walt already has a ton of fans, but Walt's fan club would have grown too, because both of them were hilarious.
I don't think my fan club is that big. I think I'm.
I mean, you haven't had people randomly come up to you and go, "Would you sign my book, sir?" I
That-
ran home to get the book.
that was probably because the comic shop owner said something.
Uh-huh. So, and the person loved your show. So,
It's one person. I'm not going to let it get to my head. I got the hat
I'm a
on for a
fan.
reason.
I'm in your fan club.
Excellent. That's all I need. I just need a couple.
well,
Just
it's not like if it gets to your head, your head's going to grow that big. I mean, you're a midget, so there is a limitation to.
It's
I mean,
true.
maybe it'll give you a couple inches. You could use a couple inches, right?
My wife says the same thing all the time.
I believe the proper term is little person.
Little person, yes, little person.
Angry ninja
I'm the
midget.
littlest person here.
We don't judge.
Every time Walt says we don't judge, I always think that just means he's judging you secretly that much more.
Oh my goodness.
That's the
Okay.
secret of, it's sort of like not to be rude, but
Yeah. I'm going to be
All right,
rude.
so
So-
advantages are unliving, super vehicle, and is there one here for employed or
Occupation.
Occupation, your day job.
occupation? Philadelphia City of Department of Streets.
That makes you sound homeless.
I know. Well, I actually Googled. I think that might be it. Philadelphia Street
Okay.
Maintenance.
Cool.
Philadelphia Streets Department.
Awesome.
1401 John F. Kennedy Boulevard. So
Awesome. Cool. Are you one of a kind, or are there other street maintenance robots that didn't realize they could be superheroes? Are you sentient and one are you unique in your sentience, but there are other robots that do this job, or are you the only robot on this job and everybody else is human?
I think Anton Kasparov, my father, came to this country and couldn't find employment in the usual places that employ mad scientists, the military-industrial complex, because of his previous associations with, the Soviet bloc. So he got the best job he could working for the Philadelphia Streets Department, and I was his, brainchild, if you will. So I'm the only one. I feel a kinship with the other machines there, but I'm the only one who can, talk or ask you about the Flyers score or something like that.
Well, are there the other robots that sweep the streets though, but you're the only talk, or do the people that I'm trying to figure out for the setting if your coworkers that sweep the streets would be humans, or if in general it would be just autonomized machines that don't have an AI, but you're unique in the fact that you're alive.
Well, if we're talking, Kasparov, he is a Soviet scientist at the Science Cities. I can say science a few more times in the sentence. Who comes to the U.S. after Perestroika, gets employed. I gotta think, and he probably died recently, so he was employed by Philadelphia for a few decades. He probably did more in that time than just build one robot, right?
Okay. So yeah, your co-workers on your day-to-day are going to be fellow robots. The street sweeping is an autonomized thing in Philadelphia in this world. Awesome.
Should we be looking at Atomic Robo comics for the basis of your character here?
I hadn't even thought about that, although I could do a lot worse. That's a fun comic.
I've only read tiny bits of it, and I thought that it was hysterical.
Yeah, we actually had Mike Olson on a few years ago when they were launching the Fate Atomic Robo RPG.
I've read that one.
Yeah. And actually, boy, they were liquidating their remaining physical stock just last month because Evil Hat is having a fire sale. So I think those are all sold out now, though. But that was probably the best example of Fate core ever, as far as articulating the rules in a way that's easy to understand, because that's been kind of a problem for Fate over the years.
Fate's aspects are very hit and miss depending on it's the aspect system is very hit and miss. We'll just leave it at that. It's one of the flaws of the system, but it's also one of the strengths of the system in some ways.
Yeah, it's great for a very specific kind of play style.
Mm-hmm.
And let me. I'm wondering if I don't know how much more we want to explore this. Like if I have, if I am one of a hive mind of robotic snowplows that maintain the streets of Philadelphia.
Do you talk to Alexa about the eventual robot overthrow?
And have you been trying to date her for some time?
There's a restraining order. I can't really talk about it.
Yes.
I have to watch Netflix now. I can't watch Amazon anymore.
Oh, that's funny.
You know what would be cool though? I've just been reading as part of the Galaxy's Edge Insider group. I've been reading The Last of Us, and there's an AI in there, and the AI can jump from position to position. He basically like transmits or beams himself to different positions and can occupy different bodies. I wonder if that would be a cool power. If you're part of an autonomous street sweeping thing, maybe all of the turbo powered snowplows throughout the city, you can beam to any one of them and be on scene, almost like a limited teleportation.
Yeah, I guess that kind of goes along with unliving. I mean, if I can transfer my consciousness from body to body. Although maybe that's another kind of advantage besides unliving.
Like that there's fire hydrants, and in Philadelphia there's street sweeper hydrants.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I
Your
think
docking
that
stations all through the city.
yeah, I think you can buy points in the limited teleport at that point to be able to change. So it sounds like dealing with the robots might be a storyline or two. Cool.
We could
See,
have
I like histories. I like histories because it fleshes things out. I can work with your history and develop your story with you, and so I have this. I have notes taken for this. And yes, Brandon, chasing the ball is on the list.
Sticks are acceptable too. Squeaky toys.
I'll write that down.
I am buying burrowing so that I can dig through stuff.
Yeah. I can confirm.
I love that picture that you posted up of the Belgian Malinois just kind of poking its head out of that huge hole in the backyard.
Oh yeah, that dog was definitely infantry.
I also had an idea, by the way, for this game. In general, I'm going to be running Supers, revised edition for all our viewers, as you guys know. But this podcast is designed to cater to superhero RPGs of all types. And so I was thinking it's something that Brandon and I have done in our long-term campaigns in the past is convert, like, we would always go back to hero system / champions for our primary. But like, when the campaign lasts 540 play hours, at certain points you're a little tired of the system and want a little break. So we would change it up and convert to a different system, play that for a month or two, or play that for a couple sessions, and then to see how the difference in the system interprets the same character. And I was thinking that for this campaign, we can also do that once people get into their characters, get a good flow, and we have a good idea, everything's solid. We can look at a few different systems that people want to try converting the characters over to and playing for a couple sessions, compare and contrast and say, hey, this does this better, does this worse, and stuff like that. And we can always reset back to Supers being our primary. Would that sound interesting to people?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we could do icons and do supers and do a couple other systems.
Mutants,
And
icons, bash,
Mastermind.
hero system.
Ooh, bash, yeah.
Is Heroes Unlimited?
And,
Palladium.
I haven't done Heroes Unlimited. I have not done Rift's engine.
I spent so much time as a kid. I've never played any of the Palladium games, but with my Heroes Unlimited book, rolling up random characters. Actually, no, I did play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Roadhogs just a little bit.
I was also interested in doing the cleaned up recent version of Phase Rip, and one that, because it's so associated with a setting, a lot of people don't actually do, but you can certainly detach it easily, is Amp. Amp, I think, has some really nice things going for it. I think it has, some flaws, just like every system does, but it's one that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, so that's another one that we could do. But yeah, I just thought that, we could try a gambit of different systems, if that's great to people. And this allows our viewers to see and compare and contrast what systems.
Absolutely.
But I want to make sure we get this rolling, get it all solid, have everyone, in the flow first.
It's all
Sounds
about
beautiful.
the flow.
I love a good flow.
Awesome.
And let's see. Do we have a team name?
Yeah, I need a team name for you guys.
I got a name generator for that. Hang on.
Mike, your level of success with name generators is questionable at best.
Well, there are a lot of this is one from David Bednarski, who does some art for me, but it's wonderfully random, which is great for him because he's an artist who will take concepts like the Magic Musketeers, which is the current team name I'm looking at, and just do amazing stuff with that.
I want him to change that to the Magic Mouseketeers and just like Mouse Musketeers, and maybe Disney's got that copyrighted.
Society 7? Well, there's not 7 of us. How many?
Well, you guys are in the town. You guys are in the city of brotherly love. You guys are also in the city where that houses the Liberty Bell. You guys could do something with, something around the Liberty Bell, and that's a great icon for you guys.
Liberty Legion, Penn's Patrolmen.
We could do like whatever we say when we first come on the scene, which Walt's Constantine probably points at somebody and goes, "Fetch!"
I actually think Liberty Legion. I totally can see the Liberty Bell, and then where the crack is, it's restylized as a lightning bolt. Yeah,
yes!
Exactly.
We could be the
it's
Liberty
a silver
Bell.
Make it a silver bell or a gold bell, and then just have that lightning bolt stylized through it. That sounds great.
The Philadelphia Foursome.
We need one
more.
Well, that's Nick.
Yeah. But if we start calling ourselves the Liberty Bells, will we have to start talking in a Southern accent?
Yes.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Including Ragnarok. Maybe that's the alternate universe version of us.
Oh God.
Philly Guardians, Liberty League. Electric Company. No, that's a bad idea.
The Electric Company.
We're bringing that kind of vibe, but to punching guys. Wow, this is not a great name.
Liberty Legion sounds good if you guys want that. That actually has a ring to it.
The Philly Fantastics. No, okay. Yeah, I'm down with Liberty Legion. Let's go with Liberty Legion.
Okay.
Good deal.
Seriously, that bell logo is now in my head. It seems like it'd be pretty cool.
Do we have a base of operations, or do we just go into Ragnarok's brick house?
Oh yeah, I did actually have that written down as a question for you guys. Do you for the team, if you guys already have a base? I forgot to ask that.
I have a base of operations with the other mag chloride bots at 1401 John F. Kennedy Boulevard.
Is there a secret room that we can use?
We could make one, I guess.
Out of like a broom closet?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
HQ is named the broom closet. Got it.
Oh God.
It's time to come out of the closet.
The broom closet. Okay.
I think we're joking about this. I don't know if we could certainly build some kind of a headquarters for you there at Bot headquarters at 1401 John F. Kennedy Boulevard.
Well, yeah, and that actually brought me back to my list of questions, because I didn't go through all of them, but with you having an idea, I did want to know, like, if you guys had an idea of history for your team, how it was founded, stuff like that, some information, or if you want to leave that all to me. But if you guys have, ideas on how you want, and knowing where that HQ is, it's a pretty good thing.
I would say that, in Red Panda style, which if people don't listen to it, it's brilliant. That there's no need to cover the backstory until that matters, really.
That's awesome to me.
Yeah, that's Dakota Ring Theater. He's actually done some, he did some promotional radio episodes for me like 10 years ago for another RPG I was working on.
Awesome.
Yeah, that guy's, and they have a comic book now.
Yeah, they do.
So
I just love listening to their show. I always try and get through them all, and always lose it somewhere in the middle and then start over again and enjoy myself, even though I've heard it like 6 times before in some of the episodes.
Cool. Yeah, he is a quality Canadian, that guy.
Yeah, it's a great podcast. And yeah, I totally agree with that statement, Brandon. Some people prefer to have that history, have, broad strokes for that history, but having no broad strokes, that's great with me. We'll get it written down as it comes up. I have GM takes notes for a reason.
Yeah, I think it's writing histories can be kind of self-gratifying and not always contribute to what happens at the table. It kind of becomes its own thing at some point.
I think that it depends because it depends on the specificity that you go to the ends of, and also because when I write my initial character histories, I always try to make sure there's lots of broad strokes and lots of hooks for people to grab onto, for the GM to work with, so that there's a lot of story available to be developed. I give a direction, and then it can be run with. And then later on, as the campaign goes on, I'll often rewrite my character history with the details that the campaign has filled in. And I think that that's kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, give me broad strokes, give me some seeds to work with, so that I know the direction in which you want your character history developed and brought up in the campaign. That's very appreciated. Like, I know for you, the mad scientist is a thing, and something I should work with, or that storyline, that direction, the robots.
Maybe we were all brought together when there was some kind of crisis. A day like no other threatened the city of Philadelphia, and the dog, the robot, and the down and out archer mystic.
Sounds like a great flashback scene once we start get rolling, and we can see what kind of day
cool.
like no other it is.
Because the original Liberty Legion probably croaked, and we were all that's left.
There you go.
Maybe we were all mystically summoned by Walt's mason ring.
Maybe.
There you go.
There you go. Guess we'll figure it out. Sounds awesome to me. Okay, that at that point covers all the questions I actually had on my list for session 0. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns? Because I think Walt needs to pack it in, and rest of your character gen, you guys can send me the character sheets and character history through email.
Right
yeah,
on.
I've got about 8 points left to spend here that I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to approach them.
Cool. Does anyone have any comments, questions, concerns, or anything they want to bring up?
Do we have a
Concerned that
cool
we're not
logo
playing.
for the setting?
A cool what?
Logo for the setting.
For Alpha 143?
Yeah.
No, unfortunately not. I have ideas for what the logo would be, but don't have one drawn up.
Send me those ideas. I might know a guy.
Might know a guy. Okay. Well, you and I can talk.
Yes. Mike, what do you think?
Sounds good to me. I went ahead and sent you, actually sent everybody my character sheet. I'm sure I'm missing some points here or there, but I basically just modified what we've got for the blaster archetype.
Okay.
So added in a bunch of advantages. And a couple disadvantages. Just one, power loss. Try to balance some of that out. So give me a look. Let me know if I need to change anything.
Okay.
And I think we're good to call this a podcast unless there's anything else we need to do right
now.
now.
One other rule I did want to bring up when I GM, don't worry about things being set in stone right now. If something doesn't work in the first few sessions, you can change it. I'm not going to be a stick in the mud about it. So, if you realize I don't want this, it's not working out the way I pictured it, don't worry about it. You can change it.
And nice nod to Nick. I see what you did there. Stick in the mud. I got you. That was good.
So you guys played with him, but our friend Alex, who Vigilante City, he was there for that.
Yes.
He played a lightning projector named Taser, and he was so on with like every action. He would have some sort of lightning pun or something. It literally would stop me sometimes, and I just break down as I hear whatever he's come up with. But.
And he managed to do this for 540 hours of campaign. So that's a long time to do puns.
That's fantastic. Hey, thanks for hosting today, and thanks for letting us put together some fun characters. This was fun.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Walt. Thank you, Brandon.
Cheers.
Thank you, viewers.
Character creation is my second favorite game.
It's true, especially if it's Traveler.
That's awesome.
A lot can happen in Traveler character creation.
Including building for 6 hours and dying.
We should just do a quick show on Traveler character creation.
It has to be old school Traveler where we can die because they removed that from later editions.
Yes,
it's true.
Awesome. That sounds awesome. Count me in.
All right, cool. Well, catch you guys later, and listeners, thanks for checking us out, and we will catch you next time on the Banff Podcast. And